Hey everyone, this is Alex Keeson here with Heart and Mind of a Leader, and this is our Module 4. Today is September 20th. So we have, last time we have discussed one of the important traits of a leader, and we've started that kind of conversation and started that discussion with decisiveness. So please let me know if there's any additional feedback, any additional comments regarding the previous module, and would be more than happy to review it and address any of your questions, any suggestions that you may have for the previous module. Please leave them in my comments, and whether it's on the Facebook group, which is also Heart and Mind of a Leader, as well as my YouTube channel. The other thing, so with regards to today's topic, as I mentioned to you previously, today we're going to talk about another very important trait of a successful leader, and that trait is empathy. So empathy is extremely important, and there's various different definitions, and there's different ways to explain empathy. So I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about what empathy is, and then we will talk about how does it apply in becoming a better leader, a better person, and in the end, just be more successful. So we'll start with the definition of what does the empathy means to you. So what definition of the empathy is, it's the ability to understand and share feelings of another person as if you were that person, and through the power of imagination. So that's just one of the definitions of what empathy is. Excuse me. And one thing that is, it's really just boils down to, it's feeling what that other person feels as you have a conversation with them, as they're sharing their perspective or their feedback, their concerns, their questions with you. So the other way to look at it on as far as what the empathy is, as it was actually mentioned by Daniel Goleman in his Working with Emotional Intelligence book. He said that it's awareness of others' feelings, needs, and concerns. So let's talk about that a little bit. What does that really mean to you, right, as a leader, as a manager, as someone who people follow? So when they come to you with anybody comes to you with questions, anybody comes to you with any concerns, and they want to share that with you, number one, that is a very important step towards establishing trust. So if people coming to you to share their feelings, to share their concerns, that's already a very important part of becoming a successful leader, because people trust you to come and come to you and talk about their concerns and share their personal feelings. So it is extremely important to really understand by actively listening to those individuals when they come to you. Not just hearing them, but setting everything aside and just listen to them. Actively listen to them. So at the end, you can understand what their concerns are, so you can relate to their concerns and put yourself in their shoes or what they're going through. That is extremely important to really be able to establish a connection with the person that's sharing that feedback, that's sharing their concerns with you, and for you to be able to recommend and help them in the end. So as I'm sure you understand, and you've probably been in a very similar situation as I have been, as a very busy individual, somebody who is constantly working, constantly doing something, working on various different projects, and somebody comes to your office and knocks on the door and says, hey, I need to share something with you, I need to talk to you. Of course, we would welcome in, but then we continue working. We continue focusing and working on something else that the project needs to be finished, or whatever the case might be, something that you need to get done, or something you were working on and you were just caught in the middle of it. Now, what a lot of us would do is we would act as we are listening to that person that's sharing the feedback with us, but at the same time you're really focusing your attention on something you're working on that's completely unrelated. So in order to establish that trust, in order to establish that um, channel of communication, two-way communication and trust, and so that person that comes to you actually expresses their concerns, expresses their feelings, and someone who is actually eager and needs your assistance, needs your help, in order to establish that, you need to let all that stuff, everything that you've been working on, aside. Put it aside. It can wait. You can always get back to it right after that conversation. And instead, excuse me, focus on that person. Whatever they're sharing with you. If you need to, turn off that computer that you've been working on. Or just set aside and just focus on that person. Because you need to have, and you have to need to give them your undivided attention, undivided focus. Make sure that you are listening to what they're telling you. Because at the end, they will be looking to you for a feedback and for assistance and for the help they're seeking. And if you haven't been really paying closer attention, if you haven't been listening to what they're telling you, there's not much feedback, or there's not much of assistance you can be for that person. And that's a lot of times that's the trap that we fall into as starting leaders, as somebody who just starting to learn and starting getting into this position. How do I become a better leader? This is one of the traps that we get ourselves into. Is simply just not paying close and undivided attention to that person with whom you're speaking with while they're sharing that feedback with you. So that is extremely important. Listening, active listening, paying attention. And the other thing is, again, focusing on the person that's talking to you. So there's 3 takeaways that you can take away from this video. Are those 3 things. Listen, and I'm talking about not just hearing, I'm talking about listening, active listening, what they're telling you, paying attention to what's being said, and lastly, set everything aside that you've been working on and just focus your attention on the person who you're speaking with and who's sharing the concerns and feedback with you. And there was a really good quote that it was actually said by American Indian proverb, and the quote is, "Never criticize a man until you've walked a mile in his moccasins." So don't start sharing your feedback with someone while they're sharing their concerns with you. Don't start giving your recommendations in what they need to do until you really understand their concerns, until you really understand their need, and you heard their need. You've envisioned yourself, you put yourself in their shoes, and only then, once you've been through that, once you felt what they felt, and once you saw that situation from their perspective, by being in their shoes, only then you're allowed to share your feedback and share recommendations. Which sometimes it does take as simple as listening actively to what they're telling you to the very end before you interrupt and share your feedback and share your suggestions, even though you may not know, you may know the answer at that time. So that's really important. Showing genuine concern, that's another very important thing, right? It's not about just saying that I understand. It's really just showing your genuine concern, putting yourself in their shoes. Envision yourself as you already in that situation. And be honest. Honesty is extremely important and genuine. You want to be genuine when you're sharing the feedback and when you're listening to the person that's in front of you. The other thing that's really more of a suggestion for starting managers and starting leaders is you always want to, whenever somebody's sharing the feedback with you, and if you're observing those opportunity areas, make sure that you praise in public. But if there's opportunity areas and something that there's any problem that needs to be addressed, make sure those are addressed in private. Because then you can have that genuine conversation with that person one-on-one and be able to recommend what they can do to improve and how to address that situation in private, so they feel more comfortable, and they are going to be more open to you with their concerns and their feedback and their suggestions. So the question is, with all this being said, right, what empathy is and how we should go about it, but the question you'd be asking yourself is, can this skill can be learned? Or is it something you have to have already in you? Well, some people do. Some people have natural skill and natural empathy in them already, but can this be learned? Yes, absolutely. This skill can be learned. This all it takes is it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of focusing and having a lot of conversation with the people that come to you. And if you're following those 3 steps, every single time, whenever anybody comes to you with their questions, 3 steps that I mentioned earlier, listening, paying attention, and setting everything aside, just focusing on the person in front of you, if you do those 3 things, every single time people come to you with their concerns and sharing their feedback and expressing themselves and how they felt about a particular situation, then this skill can be learned and enhanced as you go, as you grow as a leader, as you grow as a manager, as you grow as a person, because every conversation will become easier and more comfortable and more natural at the end. So people will, as they trust you, they will come to you more often, more frequently, to share their feedback, to share their concerns, to feel as if they're part of one big solution, and they will feel comfortable sharing their information with you. So yes, it can be learned. If that's the question you're asking yourself, you just need to actively practice that every single day, every conversation that you have with people you work with and with your colleagues or even with your friends. So that is one skill, very important. Again, following the decisiveness that we discussed previously, empathy, what we talked about today, is a very important trait of a successful leader. So there's many more to come, and one thing that I would like to ask you is, of course, share your feedback. I know there's a lot of situations out there as the new leaders that we experience or we run into, whether it's the time management, whether it's organization, whatever that may be. I'm sure there's a ton of different things, and I would be very happy to discuss those with you and share my personal feedback, share my personal experiences that may help you in your growth and your development as a leader. So please share those that feedback with me. You can leave the comments in the video too below, and please share your feedback and your discussions. You can also go to a Facebook channel, Heart and Mind of Leader, share your feedback there, and I will be happy to add that information into my upcoming modules and videos, and we will take it apart and discuss it at that time. So next time, when we talk again, in the next module, what I plan on discussing is accountability, is another very important trait of a successful leader. So if you have any suggestions before the video, which is going to be about a week from today, please, again, share them my way, send me a link, leave me your comments, and I'll be happy to add that in any questions you may have in the upcoming video. But other than that, this was Alex Keeson, and I was very happy to speak with you today. Hopefully the information that I shared with you today can be applied in your immediate situation, in your immediate development, and I will be happy to hear any success stories that you may have by applying the principles that we are talking about in our videos. But other than that, have a great rest of the day, and I will speak with you in the module 5 next time when we have our conversation, and that's going to be about a week from today. Take care.